the Republican whip, Tom Emmer, the #3 Republican leader in the House. And Congressman, it's great to have you joining us tonight. Do you believe that Senator Schumer's remarks were appropriate?
No, absolutely not. I thought they were disgusting, Kaitlan. I think they've been talking about how they stand with our best ally in the Middle East, the free democracy of the state of Israel. And today he did just the opposite. And he finally, I think, showed people that no matter what they say, their actions are something completely different.
Well, to be fair to Senator Schumer, I mean, on this front, when he was making these remarks, he said Netanyahu is one of 4 obstacles he believes that is standing in the way of peace, as he put it. He also cited right-wing Israeli officials and Hamas and the Palestinian Authority and its president, Mahmoud Abbas. Do you agree with him on any of those points?
No, I mean, maybe the last one is part of it, but no, absolutely not. Chuck Schumer does not have a problem with Benjamin Netanyahu. He does not have a problem with the people of Israel. What he's got a problem with are the anti-Semites that have taken over his Democrat Party. You cannot equivocate on this at this time, Kaitlan. You got to choose between right and wrong, between good and evil. And quite frankly, for Chuck Schumer to be calling for a new election in Israel it's abhorrent. And by the way, if he really was interested in calling for an election, how about in Gaza, where they haven't had one since 2006 when Hamas took over? What he said today was outrageous and disgusting.
Well, you said you agree with him on the last point about the Palestinian Authority leader, Abbas, but I imagine you also agree with him on Hamas also being an obstacle here. I mean, I just wanted to make sure that that's clear.
If you want to call for peace, then Hamas has to be eliminated. They cannot exist any longer. It's clear after October 7th that is not an option. So you want peace? Then Hamas needs to lay down its arms and be done.
The important context of Senator Schumer's remarks is that he is the highest-ranking Jewish elected official in our nation. And as he was talking about Netanyahu and calling for a new election, he was talking about the devastating death toll that we are witnessing happening in Gaza. Do you personally believe that Israel and Netanyahu's government is doing what it can to avoid civilian casualties?
I do. We had Ambassador Herzog was with us at our retreat today, went through what they are trying to do, which is you've got Hamas that is literally using hostages and the Palestinian people to try and protect themselves. They're holding them for a reason. By the way, they just killed another American hostage last week, Kaitlan. This is about Hamas. This is not about the state of Israel, unless you're talking about the state of Israel's survival.
That was the announcement that a tie-in was killed. But on the comment you just made a few moments ago, you said that Schumer's real issue, you believe, is dealing with the people in his party. You said they're anti-Semites. Obviously, the progressives in the Democratic Party would disagree with that. They would say that they have an issue with how Israel is conducting this war. But I think the bottom line question here is what's going to happen with funding to Israel. And you're standing at the Republican retreat right now. And the bill that came over from the Senate that does have money for Israel has not been brought up for a vote on the House floor. That's because of also the Ukraine aid and what else is in this bill. What is going to happen? How is the House going to handle this? Are Republicans in the House going to split up an Israel aid bill into one and a Ukraine aid bill into another vote?
So first, your statement about what the progressives would say is that these aren't anti-Semites, when in fact they refuse to condemn Hamas. They try to justify this brutal attack, these prehistoric attacks on women and children and the elderly. If you're not willing to condemn Hamas, then clearly you are not. It's about the Jewish people to you, and I'll stop there. But the other piece is they've had the Israel supplemental bill from the House since October, Kaitlan. Let's not get into this, the he said, she said. We sent that supplemental bill off the House floor over to the Senate back in October, and Chuck Schumer has refused to act. He complained about a pay-for because we were taking money away from the IRS to pay for the 14.2 or 14.3 billion that had been requested. So guess what? We tried to do one without a pay-for. And not only would the 166 Democrats in the House voted against it, they chose to side with Hamas instead of the state of Israel. But you had a president, Joe Biden, who threatened to veto it if it passed. You
Republicans in the Senate also had an issue with that
but your actions speak louder than your words.
Republicans also had an issue with that bill.
Again,
but I think the question is, if you're in Israel or if you're in Ukraine right now, what the House is going to do and what House Republicans are going to do. And so that's my question. What is your plan?
Again, Kaitlan, the question really isn't what House Republicans are going to do. House Republicans have already done it. The question is, will Chuck Schumer actually move the bill that's in front of him? If he doesn't like the pay-for, he can take it off. And by the way, yeah, maybe Republicans were, but they're not in charge of the Senate. Chuck Schumer is in charge of the Senate. The issue is with Chuck Schumer and his Democrat majority in the Senate and with the president and his administration. They are not standing with Israel. They are siding with Hamas.
But are House Republicans going to bring a standalone Israel aid bill and a standalone Ukraine aid bill to the floor? Is that your plan right now?
Two different issues. We already brought a standalone Israel bill to the floor 2 or 3 weeks ago.
But it doesn't have any chance of passing the Senate. So realistically, what is the House going to do?
Chose to vote against it. Well, why wouldn't it have a realistic chance of passing the Senate if you truly do support our best ally in the Middle East, the state of Israel? Why would it not have a chance, Kaitlan? Unless, of course, Chuck Schumer his problem is with the anti-Semites in his party, and that's the president's problem as well. And they're playing politics with an issue that is not about politics. It's about the very survival of the state of Israel.
Okay, I just want to give you one last chance to tell me what the House is going to do, because they have been the ones that the House Republicans are the ones who are standing in the way of the bipartisan bill that passed the Senate with aid for Ukraine and Israel and Taiwan. So what is the House's plan?
Again, the House has already acted. We've not only acted once, we've acted twice. There's a bill sitting over in the Senate right now that they can pass. If we have to continue to lead, which we will continue to lead. But right now, they already have the money that they need. They just need to process the bill, Kaitlan.
I think it's still a big question of what House Republicans are going to do. We'll see what happens when you're back in Washington. Congressman Tom Emmer, thanks for your time tonight.
Thank you, Kaitlan.